with regards to perspective, I hear some emerging themes. The first one is the globalization of risk, that risk is a global concept and that it's heightened by risk contagion. And with that, then, the need for new risk disciplines. By that, I mean the ability to clearly articulate your risk tolerance and in so doing, be able to articulate your ability to finance risk. And if the capital isn't adequate to finance the risk on the balance sheet, then of course the need to transfer. What we also see is some perspectives on the market need for risk capital. By that I mean capital is scarce, so safeguarded at all cost. The cost of capital is rising, and it's particularly high if you're managing the risk after the fact, as opposed to prearranging for capital contingent upon the risk occurring. And yes, the changing dynamics of the capital sources is quite interesting. There's heightened regulation, but really what we're beginning to see is pattern of a more unified regulatory environment, unified across institutions and across societies. And that's particularly true when we focus on risk contagion. I've been quite busy lately dealing with boards of directors. They're feverishly asking for, and what will our role be in this new society? And what we're beginning to see is that good corporate governance is about independence. It's also about the director's ability to engage management. But last and perhaps even more important, it's their understanding of the business drivers and the underlying risk in that business. By that I mean you're going to see directors actively endorsing, articulating, approving risk policy guidelines, not just investment policy guidelines, but enterprise-wide risk policy guidelines. And yes, kind of a new world order. And I say this with, I'm quite humble when I say this. The U.S. will remain strong, but they won't be the strongest. They won't be the dominant player. We see that today because on a global front, it's not the G7 or the G8, it's the G20. Now herein kind of creates an opportunity though. If you think about just recently, Bill Gates closed his last round of requests for grant money, specifically in the field of microinsurance. To date, Gates has given away $22 billion, and perhaps about, let's see, about $100 million has gone exclusively into microinsurance. When he closed his round of grants on the 3rd of this month, he received a record number of grants, over 238 grants. Now, half of those were health, but the other half were property and crop. So what I say about this new world order is it's leading to investments in innovation. Yes, in innovation like emerging economies, and I say this with great humility. I find it interesting to think, wouldn't it be amazing if the developing world is offering us in the developed societies an answer to our problem, unemployment and slow growth?